Well, it's been officially announced at E3 2018 that the new game in the Fallout series will be Fallout 76. With that being said, there's more worries than excitement for the game, and here's why we're going to get into that. So to start it off, the main concern for this game that players have is the big glaring obvious worry. The entire game is online based with zero offline capabilities, so that means no regular experience being that of a single player for a Fallout game. A lot of fans are split 50-50 because this could mean two things. Fallout 76 could be a refreshing new take on the Fallout series that we've never even seen before, or it could end up being a very big disaster with a very bland, repetitive experience. Looking at the game has no human NPCs, only robots and creature NPCs. This could mean a lot of things. One being, will the other players become or replace the NPCs? And will having no human NPCs affect the game negatively? In a recent interview about the game, Bethesda has released just recently that Fallout 76 will heavily rely on exploration and player quests for themselves. So that means holotapes and audio files will be the leading quest tools, so no NPCs or regular Fallout style quests. Well, is this a good or a bad thing? For right now, we don't really know. Does following audio quests and using holotapes sound better? Hopefully this kind of quest and mission doesn't get used up or boring quickly like GTA and The Division, because as we know, GTA, they use phones and use UL comm tools to do missions. Now, that's not really very interactive, and you don't really interact with players much, or NPCs. The only time you necessarily really do that in GTA Online is through cutscenes. Now, hopefully this game won't have very many cutscenes, or if any cutscenes at all, like the normal Fallout games. It's usually interactive like a Skyrim, and you go up and talk and choose what you want to say to the other people. Now, will this classic Bethesda element of the game still be in it? For right now, we don't really know. And will the game be very linear? Kind of like every other game where they want you to do one thing, and the story must be told one single way. Now, with Fallout and Skyrim, it's always been interesting because you could play as a scumbag, a raider, or you could play as pretty much both. Or you could even play as the Wasteland hero. You could always be the good guy or the bad guy in the situation, so that's never been linear. Or if you wanted to, you could make your own decisions at the right time. Do you want to play as a scumbag for an hour and then play as a good guy later? It's always just kind of been like that. It's never been one linear experience where it's get the point A to B and here's how you're going to do it. Usually players select, I'm going to get the point A to B and maybe even take C and D on the way. So, I don't know. Are you going to be able to talk to robots and creatures a different way, and on that outcome, will that loot system be like that? Will you be able to get legendary guns based on how you talk to people with chemistry and everything else? For right now, we don't really know that, and I'm hoping that we don't get a linear story experience for Fallout 76, being that it's all online. Another thing taken from the trailers that the fans are all talking about and players are almost worried about is, well, the power armor. The power armor is worn a lot in the trailer. If anything, it is the main centerpiece at the very beginning of the trailer and throughout the middle and the end. You've seen it being worn a lot throughout the trailer. You see it in missions and throughout the little gameplay bits they did show us. So, is power armor going to play a big role in Fallout 76? Or is it going to be one of those things that you wear as a cool cosmetic? Well, as we all know, that basically power armor is the wearable tank armor, basically a juggernaut suit in the Fallout series. Everyone knows it to be very indestructible and, well, I don't know, overpowered, I guess. If you have a bad mission you want to get to and it's very hard, you use power armor. If you need to go out into a radioactive area, you use power armor. As there's no fall damage, it's very resistant to damage and radiation, and you can customize it with jetpacks and med stations. So, what does this mean that now it's going to be online and you're not just against NPCs anymore? Will this be very annoying to kill other players, or will there be an exception? Will there be a weakness point to it? For right now, we don't really know that, and hopefully these things are addressed, or they're taken care of before the game is actually released to the public. So being on the topic of possibly being overpowered, VATS and nukes are coming into the game for big changes. So, with big changes to the VATS normally slowing down the game to a standstill, it now runs in real time. Will this be a broken mechanic, or will this be helpful to the player when he fights enemies or NPCs? Also, nukes are now a big quest and key to taking down rival enemies in a server. You will be tasked to find the key launch codes and team up with other players who have the other launch codes to launch a nuke. Yes, really, you will be able to launch nukes in Fallout 76 online. But I would assume they're probably hard to get to. being that you need to go on an entire quest either by yourself to find all the launch codes, or you can do it and team up with other players to do so. Now, if you have a launch code, you can find other people who have the connecting launch codes and go to the launch code place and launch the nuke. Or you could just find them all by yourself and do everything all by yourself. Well, is this going to be something that is an equalizer in the lobby, or will this be something that just is another thing to grief other players with when they make a settlement and do all that? For right now, we really don't know. Hopefully it's more of an equalizer against people who want to grief you and be the raiders in the lobby. I'm hoping that maybe not everybody will find the codes easily, and this won't be something you see every time you enter a server, our nukes going off. I hope maybe this is something that you see maybe every once a week, or something very rare and hard to get to, so when you do get it, it's more of an accomplishment rather than something you see every single day. I'm also hoping that maybe this feature is used as almost like an equalizer for players who are being griefed too much, or even being raided by other settlers or even other players. So maybe this feature won't be too overpowered, or hopefully this feature isn't used by griefers and raiders. Hopefully this feature is used to stop people like that, and maybe other people who are being griefed in the lobby by this one person, or even you can call in your friends and say, hey, I need to set this nuke on this guy, he's pissing me off. Hopefully it's something cool like that, where you can get your friends together or just find some other random players who want to take down this one guy in the lobby. With all that being said, will this be the one big thing to do? Will this be the incursion of the game? Will this be the one big quest that every single player wants to get to, is to nuke other players? What I'm hoping is hopefully really not, is because, well, I find myself in a Fallout game really getting lost in the middle of a big quest. I'll be in the middle of a story quest, and while doing so, there's other things going on around me, like random events, or just other quests will pop up, and I'm very interested in completing those at the same time. Now, I'm hoping that really there is a lot to do in Fallout 76, given that it doesn't have a story technically, and it's really just relied mainly on player exploration. So being on the topic of player exploration, one of my big questions, and I guess maybe a concern, would be, will Fallout 76 have companions or pets? One thing that made Fallout 4 so great was, well, we had a furry friend named Dogmeat. His helpfulness towards you made traveling the wasteland feel, well, somewhat sentimental, and it made it feel like a real, meaningful experience, rather than a repetitive loot and kill game. Well, hopefully we get this feature in Fallout 76, rather than having to only travel with random players or your friends. Hopefully if you want to play offline or you want to play alone, you have someone to travel the wasteland with. Well, with all that being said, wrapping this up, hopefully Fallout 76, when it does release in November, is a new refreshing take on the series, given that it is all online. And at the same time, make me your Fallout companion so we can travel the wasteland together in Fallout 76 by liking and subscribing to my channel. And again, thank you for watching.